Hello everyone, this is Zeeebo and welcome to this AFK Journey video. So earlier the season 4 trailer for AFK Journey just dropped, and in this video we're going to break down the different sneak peeks of the 4 different units and then discuss about what the units could potentially do in the game and discuss which one is my personal favorite based on what was reviewed. Okay, so without further ado, let's revisit the trailer once again, starting off with Indris, the Chainbreaker. This unit is a S-level Wilders Ranger right here. Voice actor is apparently the same guy as Sunday from Honkai Star Rail. So I guess the guy probably worked on Honkai Star Rail on the weekends and then came over to AFK Journey for this Indris job right here. So let's continue the trailer. Okay, so this is one of the skills that was showcased. So this is a single target attack with a binding ability with that chains or that spirit siphon around the enemy itself. It's a single target one because the surrounding targets were not aimed for this skill. Okay, so this guy is like rooted similar to Arden's root in general, and there is no additional buff onto Indris when he was casting this skill. So I'm assuming it's a very simple single target skill with some slight control. Okay, so this is an AoE skill. Triple volley seems like the pretty standard second and third skill combo. So one would be single target with control and the other one would be the AoE and could potentially have more abilities built into the kit itself. Right, so that will probably be the main characteristic for our dear Indris over here.
This is where it ends.
Okay, so ultimate right here seems like a single target skill. So the enemy on the left has a haste buff. I'm assuming this haste buff is a buff that applies to the enemies themselves. Like, it's not a buff that's given by Indris, obviously. So this skill has a single target massive damage, as well as some confine ability, and there could be this possibility that since both units, they are the same unit, they could have some self buff, and this ultimate deals damage, confine, and remove any sort of buff from the target. Okay, so I think personally, as spoken from the previous video, I think Indris kit is pretty straightforward, that of a control damage kind of kit. Although I think there could be even more stuff because there's like pretty much only 3 skill showcase. I guess it's like a second and third skill plus an ultimate showcase. So depending on how good the EX weapon could be, I think Indris could be the star character of this season. And since Indris is the main character, there's a very high chance he's going to be the first character to be released. So yep, that's for Indris. Not my personal favorite, at least I'll say like skill wise, but design wise definitely a very hunky, you know, very sexy hunky man right there for those female players who are into this sort of characters. So next, let's move on to my personal favorite.
I hear your prayers. My queen, my heart kneels only to you.
Okay, so Pale Votary Velara, so she's a support Wilders S level character. So the reason why I say she's my favorite, except for maybe like Kulu, I guess she's my second favorite because technically if I were to base it on the skill animation itself, I think Kulu is my personal favorite. Like in terms of what she can do, at least based off this trailer, I think is the most impressive. So right here, if you go through the ultimate, this is definitely the ultimate right here. So when she casts the ultimate, there's this like this aura on her, as you guys can see. So right here, there's no buff on Indris, and then there's a massive heal. There's this 87,000 right here, and then I'm assuming the buffs exist on the enemy, right? So when she casts the ultimate, the circle actually comes online, and then the debuff starts to appear on the enemy. So that was actually mentioned in my previous video on the trailer. This is a massive debuff because there's like 3 instant debuff onto the enemy. Okay, and then towards the end of this part, there's actually an additional haste down. So there could be a possibility that this is a channeling skill that gives you more debuffs the longer this unit can channel her ultimate. There could be a possibility because later on in the last part, we will see there are a lot of debuffs onto the enemy. Okay, so I'm assuming this should be, I'll say like one of the second or third skill, right? Because this is not the ultimate. And this 4 circle itself, right, could be a skill that is from her. Because at this battle over here, right, this circle disappears after she casts the ultimate. Okay, so it sort of consolidates into this one big circle right here. So I'm assuming this circle over here is also some sort of buffing or debuffing for the team. Yeah, so like as she's channeling right here, as you guys can see, right? So there is this like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right? As you throw the skill, there's this damage plus this confine. So from the looks of it, her kit would probably be buffing with a whole bunch of debuffs, heal, and channeling ultimate. So pretty impressive stuff, assuming it works on the boss, assuming it works on all the damage related contents. Because can you imagine if you're able to reduce like all the different stats of the boss itself over the course of her channeling her ultimate? That would be pretty sick. Although there's quite a few bosses that can actually interrupt her. So we shall see, because moving forward in the next season, the Dream Realm side could have a lot of control-centric boss, like, you know, the likes of Illusia and, you know, units like Crystal Beetle, for example. So that's for Velara. So after this, there's 2 more units. So this is in the post-edit. So I think this one, Daimon, is probably one of the, I'll say, most anticipated unit for the AFK arena players, because this is the son of Shamira. So if you're a law player or if you're AFK arena enjoyer, I think this is probably the unit that you're looking out for.
Stay with me forever.
Okay, so Daimon is a S level tank from the Graveborn side. So he will be competing with the likes of Torrent, with the likes of Kellen for that tank slot. So tanks in the game, I think right now Fresto is dominating a lot of the tanks spotlight, because like Fresto is just a pretty versatile character all around. So like for a tank to be, I'll say, like taking over Fresto, I guess it must do something that Fresto can do a lot better. And I think for Daimon's case, right, it is on the control as well as the front lining part. So let's take a look at what he can do.
Stitchy, play with me.
Okay, so that's the ultimate. So the ultimate will allow this. So right now, Daimon is with Shamira as well as Neo right here. The ultimate will cause this summon to unleash a massive strike. So this massive strike over here also gives him this massive shielding. So let me go back to this part. Okay, so right here, right, he has this massive shielding. Neo doesn't have it. Shamira doesn't have it. So after he casts it, there's this massive swipe. Both the ally gets massive shielding together with Daimon over here. So it's a swipe with massive shielding. Okay. And then this is probably the second skill with some sort of frighten, similar to Barrel. So control, shielding. So on the more defensive side. So with regards to Daimon skill, seems like he's going to be this mid shield character with control. So that's something which I think Fresto lacks, and probably will make him a really good PvP character in general. Cause like right now, I think I personally feel like tanks in the meta right now, I don't know, if they feel pretty non-existent, except for maybe like at least in the PvP meta, right? Except for maybe like Almas, right? And Iron Almas combo, like Danny, Torrent is, I say, usable, but I don't see a lot of people using Torrent. Like Kellen's also like pretty underused right now, so I kind of hope that Daimon can actually shake up the game and then like allow more people to start featuring tanks in their team once again. So hopefully the meta is in favor of Daimon next season.
Lady Kulu, you're as beautiful as ever.
So next one is Kulu right here. She actually has the longest feature time based on the timer on the video. Okay, this is the Hypogean character. So S rank, another archer.
Everything explodes!
Okay, so she launches that bomb thing and it creates this terrain right here. So this is I'll say impossible terrain, right? And then there's this second part. I don't know whether or not this debuff is applied by her. Can you imagine if she's able to throw the terrain, debuff the enemy, and then damage them at the same time?
Don't get overly excited.
So I'm assuming after she summons it, this black ball magic pops out and it starts bouncing around to deal AoE damage. And it continues bouncing. And then this is the second skill right here. with massive AoE. So can you imagine if like for a non-ultimate it is so flashy? I can't be, I'll say like, I don't know, I think the ultimate is gonna be really crazy, like at least based on what it can do, because this is a little bit too flashy for a non-ultimate. Or this could also be part of the ultimate, I guess. So like just like massive AoE damage after the bomb starts to bounce around. Okay, so that's for Kulu's skill itself. I like Kulu's skill in terms of the flashiness, because you can change the terrain, right? You can launch a bomb and then it sticks on the battlefield for quite a bit. Who knows, maybe this bomb is able to apply some control, right? So from the looks of it, like it is one-shotting the summons, but no control over here. So I guess it's just a whole bunch of damage with this like terrain being summoned. And then if you take a look at Kulu right here, there's no other units on the battlefield, so she does buff herself up. So I think she might have a skill that she buffs up her attack speed, because I think this icon is the attack speed and attack buff. So from the looks of it, I think Kulu's gonna be a pretty straightforward character with the ability to self buff, very simple attack speed with attack, and then based on the values that she's able to get, do massive AoE damage. So yep, that's for Kulu. I think her skill animation is the most flashy amongst the four of them, although Velara's skill is also equally flashy. So like in terms of who I prefer more, or who I like in terms of what is showcased here, I think Velara actually attracts my attention the most, because I'm curious what this 4 circle can do, right? And I'm actually curious how many debuffs she can apply onto the enemy, and does the value of her debuffs increase with her channeling time in general. So we know that it heals, and we know that there's debuff, and we know there is a channeling skill. So these are the questions which I have in my mind with regards to Velara, and that's pretty much it for this video. So like I think Indris is gonna be this MC character like Sinbad as usual. Maybe he looks plain, and then somehow, you know, like the developer decides to massively buff him before he actually releases. Who knows? But that's pretty much it. Let me know which is your favorite character. Is it the AFK Arena storybound Daimon, or the Blastmaster Kulu, or the main character Indris, or similar to myself, High Priestess Velara right here? So thank you very much for tuning in. Do remember to like and subscribe to see more. I'll see you guys again in my next video. Bye guys.